Nick Plummer, high school player from Michigan, was drafted in the first round, 23rd overall by the St. Louis Cardinals. A big body, projectable player that runs above average. He was recently ranked the 18th best player in the draft by one online source. Though being from a cold weather state, the jury is still out on how Plummer will do against higher level competition. As we look at him in just his swing mechanics, you can see here in his setup, I like the rhythm and smooth tempo that he brings to the table. That's going to allow for better synchronization and possibly more whip in his swing as he creates torque. I like the setup and rhythm, although he has some issues in his synchronization that we're going to show you in just a second. When you watch him load his lower body, he has an excellent lower body load against his backside, but you're seeing him load his hands at the same time. So for somebody to sync up the unwinding portion of the swing, you first have to sync up the loading portion of the swing. So he's essentially loading lower body and upper body at the same time, which will reduce his torque, thus his potential bat speed. So that's something that if he can get corrected, his projectability at the big league level is like 10 plus home runs. That could go way up with his physical strength he has already. As we take him further into his advance, you're going to see him pull back and maintain that scap load during the forward advance, which tightens the spring around the rear hip and into the lower back. But because he loaded his hands early, he has to make sure he maintains that upper body load all the way into his foot down position. If this is lost early, it's going to lead to an upper body that starts unwinding before the lower body begins the drive of the swing. And that's exactly what happens here. You can see how that rear elbow and scap begin to unload or slot before he's getting into his foot down position. So again, this is going to reduce the torque and the potential whip or bat speed that Plummer can create. He lands completely closed, which is a little unusual because that's going to lock up his hips slightly, which you'll see later in the swing happens during rotation. Normally, you would see that front shoe open up to about a 45-degree angle as his lower body begins the drive and opens up the hip chassis altogether. He does slot well. Plummer's been said to be a very good line drive approach hitter, and that's what he's going to be. He is short to the baseball. He slots tight to the body, has a short, compact swing, but again, with his size and his ability to sync up his swing better, I think there's the potential for more whip, more bat speed, and thus better power numbers if he gets these issues corrected. Because he loses that scap load slightly early, he does land heavy into his front side. By starting the upper body load later and maintaining the pullback, that could help his body control out the foot down and make him less susceptible to better off-speed pitches at the professional level. Taking him into the connection portion of the swing. This is illustrating how tight he is to his body, thus how short his swing is. You can see that rear elbow connected to his hip at this point, and they're going to rotate forward together until the hips stop the rotation, and that'll put his rear elbow just in front of his body line in a palm up, palm down position with his hands, a power position at contact. Besides landing heavy and being susceptible to off-speed pitches, I think you can tie Plummer up with inside fastballs because he does block his hips slightly. So getting him to let the lower body turn completely, where the front shoe is going to have to open up some to do that, he's going to have better control of both sides of the plate. With many other teams, I would think Plummer would be a reach as a first-round draft pick. However, the Cardinals have a proven track record of their player development system and have taken a player with upside, a physical specimen that has the ability, with some adjustments, to be a very polished big league player.